Hi, my name is Chris Piech. I'm a professor of computer science at Stanford University. Among a wonderful team, I'm one of the people who is teaching for Code in Place, which is starting this April. Just before this video, some folks from my team gave me a challenge. They said, hey Chris, it'd be really fun if you made a program which would play 20 questions using AI. Could you write a program using the sorts of content you teach in Code in Place that can do this? And I thought it was a fun challenge, so let's go do it. Okay, so let's jump into it. I'm gonna program a little game that's going to be think of an animal. And just an aside, this is a game that's near and dear to my heart. I always play it with my 4-year-old while we're having breakfast. And the way it works is my 4-year-old will say like, hey dad, I'm thinking of an animal. And then I'll ask questions and then she'll answer until I get her animal correct. Now I've got some starter code up here. If I run the starter code, all it does is says, try and guess my animal. And we're going to program this now. Okay, I'm going to do this in steps. In the first step, I'm going to assume that the animal is always an elephant. And then I'm going to have this loop where we're going to iteratively ask questions so that the user can try and guess the elephant that I'm thinking of. I'm going to do 20 questions because, as you know, this program is classically 20 questions long. And each time I'm going to get a question from the user. So I'm going to say question equals input, enter a question. Now, if I'm going to run this program right now, it's kind of exciting. It runs the program. It doesn't tell the user that they're thinking of an animal. Instead, just ask for a question. I could say like, is it big? Now, at this point, the program's at line 13 and it's asking to enter a question. When I write, is it big? That's going to be stored in this variable called question. But after I run that, what happens is it repeats. For those of you guys familiar with a for loop says, repeat this 20 times. So it asked a question and then immediately went to repeat again and asked me for another question without providing the answer. How rude. So we should fix that. Even if I say something like, is it an elephant? I've only programmed this to repeat 20 times, ask a question. Here's the interesting part. At this point, we need to figure out how to answer the question, is it big? If I know that the animal is an elephant. You know, if I tried to teach you guys 5 years ago, this would have been an impossibly hard task. But one of the beautiful things about programming in 2025 is you can have access to smart AI inside your program. So what I could do here is I could send a question to ChatGPT. Now, to get us started, I actually just want to show you guys a quick demo of how that works. If I want to send a question to ChatGPT, I have to write code that looks like this. Now, I was given a 10-minute warning, so I wrote a quick helper function. This helper function actually calls the ChatGPT API. It might look confusing to you now, but every single time I want to call ChatGPT, I use a function just like this. If you're in Code in Place, we'll give you a way that you can call ChatGPT inside your programs for free. Okay, so when I call ask ChatGPT, I'm going to run all this code. This is a function that's going to take in a prompt and give me back an answer. Let's test it out before we put it into our program. So I'm going to say answer equals ask ChatGPT. And as a test thing, I'm going to ask it, what is the capital of Kenya? As you guys might know, I was born in Kenya and I grew up in Kenya and Malaysia. If I run this program, it doesn't do the 20 questions, I've commented out. Instead, what it's going to do is just run these 2 lines. In this line, it's going to ask this question to ChatGPT. I'm going to store the response as a variable, and then I'm going to print it out. So if I run this, I ran this program. It sent this question to OpenAI. It got back the answer, and it says the capital of Kenya is Nairobi, which is in fact correct. Let's go back to trying to play this game of 20 questions. So right now, I'm going to say, try and guess my animal. Then 20 times, I'm going to get a question from the user. And now I need to get AI to figure out what the answer is. So I'm going to call that ask ChatGPT thing. I have to give it a prompt. That prompt could be something like, here was the question that was asked, and here is your animal. It turns out, if you want to be able to ask a question to ChatGPT, you got to be very thoughtful about the questions you ask. So in the 5 minutes before, I got very thoughtful. And this is how I wanted to send the request to ChatGPT. I said, ChatGPT, you're a helpful assistant building a game of 20 questions. You'll be given a question and you need to answer it in a way that's helpful to the user. The user is trying to guess your secret animal. They've just asked the question, and then I say, importantly, don't give up what the animal is. So let's use that function. So I can say, ask ChatGPT to respond to this prompt. And the prompt is what I got back from calling this build prompt function with the correct animal and the question that the user just asked. And now I'm going to print that to the screen. So if I run this program now, it's going to say, try and guess my animal. Now, because I programmed this, I know it's an elephant. So let's ask, does it have a trunk? Yes, it does have a trunk. And I could say, is it big? And it's gonna say, yes, it is big. And I'm gonna say, does it rhyme with smellephant? It does rhyme with smellephant. Then I can say, is it an elephant? And it says, you guessed it. Now, unfortunately, my program still is asking for a question. I put in my prompt that whenever the user gets it right, they should write back, you guessed it. I should check if they got it right. So I'm gonna say, if you guessed it is in the answer, I'm gonna print you win, and I'm gonna break out of this. Now, to spice this up a little bit, why don't I say how many questions you have left? You have some number of questions left, and then you can enter your question. So I have to figure out how many questions they have left. Now, one of the things that you'll learn in Code in Place is you'll learn not just how to make a program repeat things, but you'll also learn how to use things like the counter variable that says how many times the loop has completed. This variable I will go from 0 to 1 to 2, and it'll keep track of how many times this loop has finished. So the first time through the loop, it'll finish 0 times, and so the number of questions they have left will be 20 minus the number of times we've completed the loop. And so now we can try this program. So you have 20 questions left. Enter a question. Is it a rabbit? And it answers, oh, did it not print out my answer? I didn't print out my answer. Let's try that again. Is it a rabbit? No, it's not a rabbit. Keep guessing. Fantastic. So at this point, we basically have a functioning program. But one last thing. I don't like that it's always an elephant. I would like it to be a different animal each time. And you know what would be fun? What if we let ChatGPT choose the animal as well? So I'm again going to ask ChatGPT, and this time I'm going to say, can you return a randomly chosen animal? Okay, well, I'll just say animal. I don't want it to be like Bob the elephant. Okay, so now we're going to play again, but this time we're playing for real. We don't know what the animal is. We have 20 questions left. Okay, let's start with, is it big? I actually did an information theory test on this with my daughter, and I found out that is it big is always the best question for me to ask first. Ooh, it's considered a large animal. Does it live in Kenya? Lots of animals live in Kenya. No, it doesn't live in Kenya. Does it eat meat? It occasionally eats meat, but its main diet consists of another type of food. Ooh, spicy. No, it doesn't live in the water. Does it live in North America? It doesn't live in North America. South America? Oh, let's do Australia. I hope so. Those are the most exciting. Does it live in South America? I only have 14 questions left. Wow. Does it live anywhere? In Asia? Okay, it does live in Asia. So what do we have here? Big animal, occasionally eats meat, lives in Asia. Okay, has fur, let's say panda. No, pandas don't eat, oh wow! I'm not sure pandas eat meat. Do they eat meat? Maybe they do. Yeah, they're a type of bear. Hey, this is just such a fun program. You know, if you think about this, this is about 25 lines of code, and it makes this wonderful program. You know who I'd love to share this with? My daughter and my loved ones. It's such a great thing about programming. You can learn some basic fundamentals, and you can build all these wonderful things that you could share with people who you care about. It's just the best feeling. If you'd like to learn how to do this too, you should come check out Code in Place. It's a lot of fun. It's perhaps the class in the world with the most teachers. There'll be thousands of people there who care about your learning. And it's just a wonderful way to expand your thinking.